This gizmo right here in my hand is a marvel of technological innovation. The smartphone, ever since its inception, has been a key part of our daily lives, as today we use it for making calls, playing games, sending money to people, and even watching cat videos. Yeah, I do that. But even something that looks so perfectly engineered can have flaws. The Samsung Galaxy Note 7 fiasco, which started back in 2016, is especially memorable, but over the years there have been many reports of smartphones allegedly exploding, leaving a lot of mobile users perturbed about whether their phone could be next. As per a 2017 New York Times article, the president of Samsung's mobile communication business, Ko Dong-jin, said, and I quote, "We are taking responsibility for our failure to ultimately identify and verify the issues arising out of the battery design and manufacturing process prior to the launch of the Note 7. At that time, manufacturers were under pressure to produce compact and thin smartphones. We've had reports of phones exploding in Alaska, China, and even here in India. But likelihood of your smartphone exploding is very slim. Why does this happen? What could be the reason a phone would explode? Stick around as we will try to dig for the answers. Researchers believe that excess heat generated around a smartphone's battery is the culprit most of the times. Smartphones today are powered by lithium-ion batteries, the same kind that are also used to power electric cars that you see on the roads today. Since there's chemistry involved, things can go wrong at times. We caught up with Dr. Yukti Arora, who has a PhD in solar batteries from the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research in Mumbai, to explain to us why such issues occur with lithium-ion batteries and the real science behind what's going on.
Let's quickly talk about its architecture first. So you have a positively charged electrode on one side and a negatively charged electrode on the other side. The two electrodes are separated by something known as a separator, which is an insulator, and the volume between the two electrodes is filled with electrolyte. These are low boiling chemicals. So it's the reversible shuttling of lithium ions from one side of the cell to the other side which makes these batteries rechargeable batteries. However, the chemistry is not as reversible as we think it is. The chemistry is affected over a period of time. We start seeing that there is an accumulation of lithium atoms on one of the electrodes. They start forming lithium dendrites. These lithium dendrites have a tendency to puncture the separator, and once the separator is punctured, there is a short circuiting that happens inside the cell. This is also accompanied by a cascade of chemical reactions that produce so much of heat inside the cell that as a cumulative result, an explosion takes place.
Now, here's the thing. It's just not smartphones, but any small gadget that runs on a lithium-ion battery has an equal chance of catching fire. Since some gadgets are bigger in size, the danger to them is much more greater. Hey, if you're liking this video, don't forget to hit that like button, and also for more such content, do subscribe to the Gadgets 360 YouTube channel. Now, where was I? Oh yes, but is there any way to tell that my smartphone's battery is going to go boom? I mean, I understand the chemistry of it all, but I'm sure that a wrong chemical reaction should lead to some physical changes, right?
In the older days, when we used to get the removable batteries, it was much easier to comment on the state of the battery simply by looking at the physical structure of the battery. Sometimes we used to see the bulging in the battery, which was primarily caused as a result of gases being produced inside the battery when the electrolytes are decomposing. These gases used to cause the bulging in the battery, and we knew that the phone was soon going to explode. However, for most of the non-removable batteries that we get these days, it's difficult to comment on what is the state of the battery. However, there are a few cues that we should not ignore, such as faster draining in the battery or unusual heating in the battery or the phone. We should perhaps get our phone checked and batteries replaced.
The real problem for smartphone manufacturers these days is that they're trying to squeeze a lot of battery capacity into slimmer and lighter bodies, which can be a big challenge. Considering how Samsung has already faced the brunt of experimenting with something like this in the past, smartphone makers need to tread very carefully.
Now, with hardware, there is certainly limitation because more capacity means a bigger size. That being said, the form factor in which the battery is built is something that we do have some control over. So, for example, you could have a 5000 mAh battery that is very thick takes less space inside the chassis, but it's thick. Or you could have a 5000 mAh battery that takes slightly more space inside the chassis but is very thin in its profile. So that's of course what we do, and we make sure that the battery life is as long as possible.
This is exactly why the big battery phones you see today tend to be bigger and heavier. Yes, there is a compromise in terms of compact form factor, but the reward is a healthy and long-lasting battery. Dr. Arora says that there is extensive research going on in this field to prevent such explosions from happening in the future.
Scientists are trying to develop thinner but mechanically more stable separators so that they prevent the puncturing and subsequent short circuiting in the batteries. On the other hand, they are also trying to develop chemically and thermally more stable electrolytes that can sustain higher temperatures. So we certainly are looking forward to better and more evolved technology in the near future.
Scientists, including those who work for smartphone manufacturers, are doing their part in ensuring that customers get the most out of their smartphone batteries without the risk of damage.
When it comes to it affecting battery longevity, there are two primary factors that affect a battery's longevity or how long that battery lasts. One is charge cycles and second is heat, and heat is generally the primary reason why battery health or battery goes out before its time. Now for that, what we do is we keep all our ICs that produce heat within the adapter itself, which means that heat stays as away from the phone as possible, making sure that your battery lasts for a very long time. And coming to software, Realme UI is filled with software optimizations on the apps, on background processes, on the operating system itself. And with the complexity of the Android operating system today and the apps, the headroom for increasing battery life through pure software optimizations is a lot, and we do take advantage of that.
I feel that as much as chemistry and hardware could be the reasons for this problem, we as users of these products also need to exercise caution in order to get the best out of our devices and batteries. In the end, all that matters is your safety. Hope you like the content, and I'll see you very soon in the next video. Take care.